Shalom, shalom, Shaul Dog here once again with your weekly drosh. My printer is sort of out of ink, so I have all my stuff on the screen here, which is pretty awkward for me because that's usually where I have all my video stuff, where I monitor what's going on, if there's any kind of glitches or anything like that. So, you know, I've got all the scripture up here. So if you see my eyes going up here, then, you know, I'm just trying to find my place and read and all that stuff. I got the menorah that I ordered right here. Actually, it's not what I ordered. Long story. They just... unprofessional company. They call themselves Sacred Symbols. If you ever want to order any kind of jewelry, do not get it from Sacred Symbols. I just had nothing but headaches from those people. So she said she's going to refund my money and I don't have to send the thing back. You know, this is supposed to be like a ½ inch either way bigger. It ain't. You know, so I've got another one ordered, and it's supposed to be actually the size of the star, which is what I'm looking for. Because with a thick chain, you want to have, you know, something of substance hanging off that chain if you hang anything off of it. So that's what I've done. So there it is. So I got this menorah. What the heck? The other one comes with a 19-inch chain. Won't even fit around my neck, or 16-inch chain actually won't even fit around my neck, but it's a big pendant. So I'll put that chain on the, you know, put this on that chain, put the old Bane back on it, and then there you go. I could send it off to somebody or something and just say, here you go, you know. But anyways, this is Parashah 15, Bo, which means go. This is chapter 10, verse 1 to chapter 13, verse 16. And I pretty much have taken all of this, pretty much the majority of it. I've taken the whole, you know, pretty much the majority of it because a lot of it's really important. You know, the context of how things have happened and everything like that. Some comparisons to today and whatnot. And it's very important to basically bring out the truth that's in here, you know, and basically understand Yah a little more and compare it to today and see that he definitely hasn't changed and he's not going to change, you see. So let's just dive right into it because there's a lot of reading here. I have it in the 16 font right now. So, you know, I'm covering 7 pages. So in regular font, that's probably about 4.5 pages. Still quite a bit, though. So let's just dive right in. Moshe and Aharon went to Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says. How much longer will you refuse to submit to me? Let my people go so that they can worship me. Otherwise, if you refuse to let my people go, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territory. One won't be able to see the ground, so completely will the locusts cover it. They will eat anything you still have that escaped the hail, including every tree that you have growing in the field. They will fill your houses and those of your servants and all of the Egyptians. It will be like nothing your fathers or their fathers have ever seen since the day they were born until today." Then he turned his back and left. Brings me back to the Great Depression. We had great dust bowls and everything like that, and there was a plague of locusts. Not one wooden thing was left. I mean, shovels, you know, with wooden handles, the fence posts, everything. The wooden handles would be gone. Fence posts would be gone, and the barbed wire would just be on the ground. I mean, we saw that before in the Great Depression. Yeah, hits the money, hits the vanity. Okay, it's the same thing. The plagues are coming on the United States of America, and it's the same thing. You know, you better turn back to Yah. I'm telling you right now, you better turn back to him, because I'm not joking. He's not joking. Whatever happened then will happen again. We've already seen it. Okay, we might not have the exact plagues that Egypt had, but we will have Yah's wrath coming down on us. We're seeing it now with our financial situation, okay? I mean, I'm serious. Get into the Torah, okay? What these Christian pastors have been telling you are a bunch of lies. And what the rabbis in your rabbinic synagogue have been telling you is a bunch of lies, okay? Bunch of lies. Because you don't follow Talmud and get to the kingdom. You don't find any salvation in a man-made document like the Talmud, okay? Doesn't matter how many volumes a man adds to it, it's still man-made, okay? Same thing with the doctrines of the church. The doctrines of the church are based on cherry-picked little scriptures, and that's it. If you really want to get into the full meat of the scriptures, you have to dive into the full meat of the scriptures and not just cherry-pick whatever makes you feel good. You see what I'm saying? But the time's a ticking right now, I'm telling you. The time is ticking. And people need to turn back to the Father, or else this country and so many other countries around the world are going to feel his wrath and feel it heavily. And we're going to actually see some very similar dialogue in here that we hear today in people today. Okay, let's continue here with verse 7. Pharaoh's servant said to him, "How much longer must this fellow be a snare for us? Let the people go and worship Yahweh their God. Don't you understand that Egypt is being destroyed?" Doesn't that sound familiar? I hear people all the time. Don't you understand that this country is being destroyed? The United States is being destroyed. Well, whenever Yah's wrath comes down on a country, then people start to say, hey, they put their love of country before the love of Yah. Okay, that's what they do. And this is, evidence right here that this happens. People don't change. Technology changes. That's the only thing that changes. People just have different kinds of idols or different ways of worshiping their idols, but they still have their idols and their false gods. You see? So Moshe and Aaron were brought to Pharaoh again. And he said to them, "Go worship Yahweh your God." But who exactly is going? Moshe answered, "We will go with our young, our old, our sons, our daughters. We will go with our flocks and our herds, for we must celebrate a feast to Yahweh." Pharaoh said to them, "Yahweh certainly will be with you if I ever let you go with your children. It's clear that you're up to no good. Nothing doing. Just some men among you may go and worship Yahweh. That's what you want, isn't it?" And they were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. Yahweh said to Moshe, "Reach out your hand over the land of Egypt, so locusts will invade the land and eat every plant that the hail has left." Moshe reached out with his staff, and over the land of Egypt, Yahweh caused an east wind to blow on the land all day and all night. And in the morning, the east wind brought the locusts. The locusts went up all over the land of Egypt, settled in throughout Egypt's territory. It was an invasion more severe than there had ever been before or will ever be again. They completely covered the ground so that the ground looked black. They ate every plant growing from the ground and all the fruit of the trees left by the hail. Not one green thing remained, not a tree, not a plant in the field, not in all of the land of Egypt. Now, so many people like to put scientists and science above Yah. And they keep trying to disprove Yah by using science, but every time they try to do that, they end up proving Yah. You know what I mean? And this is a testament to the fact that every living being, everything that is created, actually, down to that little speck of dust that's sitting on top of your computer monitor right now, is under the command of Yah. If Yah wants that little piece of dust on top of your computer monitor to just jump up and go fly away, it will. Okay? Yah commands everything, including the locusts here. You see? Pharaoh hurried to summon Moshe and Aaron and said, "I have sinned against Yahweh your God and against you." Now let's just stop right there, okay? Pharaoh knows what the Torah says, or else he wouldn't know what a sin is. He does not know what sin is unless you know what Torah is. And that's the problem with the Christian church. They reject Torah and they don't know what sin is. They're running around saying, repent, repent, but they don't know how to. And not one of those pastors at the pulpit are going to tell them how, because the pastors reject the rulings and the laws of the Creator, where all of the sin is listed. So, okay, yeah, we shouldn't murder, duh. We shouldn't steal, duh. That's about the extent of it. That's about the extent of it with the Christians. Murder and steal. Okay, as long as I don't do that, I'm going to go to heaven because I'm saved by grace. Oh, boy. But, let's continue with verse 17. Now, therefore, please forgive my sin, just this once, and intercede with Yahweh your God, so that he will at least take away from me this deadly plague. He went out from Pharaoh and interceded with Yahweh, and Yahweh reversed the wind and made it blow very strongly from the west. It took up the locusts and drove them into the Sea of Suf. Not one locust remained on Egyptian soil, but Yahweh made Pharaoh hard-hearted and didn't let the people of Israel go. Yahweh said to Moshe, reach out your hand towards the sky, and there will be darkness over the land of Egypt, darkness so thick it could be felt. Moshe reached out his hand toward the sky, and there was a thick darkness in the entire land of Egypt for 3 days. People couldn't see each other, and no one went anywhere for 3 days. But all the people of Israel had light in their homes. Now, see, Yah says, hey, if you like living in darkness, that's, rejecting his Torah. Okay, I know what your Torah says. I know what your law is saying. Everything like that. But, hey, yeah, right here, pal, I'm not going to do it. Well, those people are living in darkness. And Yah says, you want darkness? That's fine. I'm going to make it so thick, so dark, that you could taste it. You could feel the darkness. Imagine darkness like that. Imagine it. I just couldn't. I mean, it's bad enough walking into a pitch black room, Reminds me of a Helen Keller joke, never mind. Never mind, you probably heard it, so you're chuckling right now. But anyways, Pharaoh summoned Moshe and said, go worship Yahweh. Only leave your flocks and herds behind. Your children may go with you. Moshe answered, you must also see to it that we have sacrifices and burnt offerings so that we can sacrifice to Yahweh our God. Our livestock will also go with us. Not a hoof will be left behind, because we must choose some of them to worship Yahweh our God, and we don't know which ones we will need to worship Yahweh until we get there. And we see here, okay, this whole dialogue between Pharaoh and Moshe. Okay, Yah is speaking through Moshe, and Satan is speaking through Pharaoh. Okay, Pharaoh, Satan, we could just say Satan, he's always trying to bargain, always trying to get an angle, always trying to just undercut Yah's word, undercut what Yah wants. Just try, and we see compromise here. With Yah's word, there is no compromise. You either obey it or you don't. If you do, then you're going to be in his good grace. If you don't, then guess what? You're going to be cast in the lake of fire. Plain and simple. That's how it works. That's how it works, I mean, there is no gray area. The gray area is somebody who steps to one side and then the other, then one side, then the other, okay? And they're called lukewarm, and the Messiah, Emmanuel, is going to puke them out of his mouth, vomit them, just right out of his mouth, okay? So, you're either hot and you obey the Torah and ignore the Talmud and all the doctrines of the church and, whatever else, out of your religion that you follow. If you just obey the word, okay, first 5 books of Scripture, if you obey what's written in there, what applies to you, then you're going to do well, okay? If you don't, you say, that's Old Testament. And then out of the other side of your mouth, you're saying, well, every word is lived and breathed, the breath of God or whatever. Come on. What are you saying? You're a hypocrite. Every word is the word of Yah, but, I don't have to accept some of his words. Well, he doesn't have to accept your words when you ask him for forgiveness whenever you face him. Think about that, huh? You want to reject his words now? He's going to reject your words when you plead for your life before he throws you into the lake of fire. But Yahweh made Pharaoh hard-hearted. He would not let them go. Pharaoh said to him, get away from me. and you had better not see my face again, because that day you see my face, you will die. Moshe answered, well spoken. I will see your face no more. Now see, that would, after seeing all the stuff that happened, all of the stuff that happened to my country, I'm the leader of this country. Let's just say I'm President Shaul, okay? And I have this guy who says, I'm going to do this, and it happens. I'm going to do that. This happens. And he just keeps doing it, okay? When he says, well, okay, that's fine. Well said. You won't see my, or I won't see your face anymore. That means he's walking away. And if you ever followed military strategy and stuff, when a military yanks all of its people out, all of a sudden, something terrible's coming. Think about that. So when Moshe says, okay, I'm just going to disappear from your presence, that should send a little signal to Pharaoh, we're chapter 11 now. See, we're moving right along. Yahweh said to Moshe, I'm going to bring still one more plague on Pharaoh in Egypt. And after that, he will let you leave here. When he does let you go, he will throw you out completely. Now, tell the people that every man is to ask his neighbor and every woman her neighbor for gold and silver jewelry. Now, see, a lot of Christians are going to say, well, see, right there, that's justification for fundraising and asking for money. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You're not an Israelite, okay? But, Yahweh made the Egyptians favorably disposed towards the people. Moreover, Moshe was regarded by Pharaoh's servants and the people as a very great man in the land of Egypt. I wonder why. Well, it's because of Yah. Yah's glory shone through him, and he was regarded a great man. Moshe said, here's what Yahweh says, and this is after all the destruction and everything else too. Moshe is regarded a great man. It's because of glory of Yah. See? Moshe said, here's what Yahweh says, about midnight I will go out into Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt will die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the slave girl at the handmill, and all the firstborn of the livestock. There will be a horrendous wailing throughout all the land of Egypt. There has never been another like it, and there never will be again. But not even a dog's growl will be heard against any of the people of Israel, neither against people nor against animals. In this way you will realize that Yahweh distinguishes between the Egyptians and Israel. Now, this is so important, okay? Those of you who are still in Egypt, okay, you need to come out of Egypt. Okay, right now, Egypt is a land of sin. Okay, you need to come out of Egypt. And you need to come out into the desert and put all of your trust in Yah and obey him. See, once you come out of that sin and you come out in the desert, then you have a chance. But right now, as long as you stay in Egypt, well, us, who are the Israelites, and you, who are the Egyptians, we're going to get Yah's favor. You see what I'm saying? If you want Yah's favor, you have to come and join us. And there were foreigners joined to the Israelites. You see? Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that still more of my wonders will be shown in the land of Egypt. Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. But Yahweh made Pharaoh hard-hearted, and he didn't let the people of Israel leave his land. Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron in the land of Egypt. He said, you are to begin your calendar with this month. It will be the first month of the year for you. Speak to all the assembly of Israel and say, on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb or kid for his family, one per household, except that if the household is too small for a lamb or a kid, then he and his next door neighbor should share one, dividing it in proportion to the number of people eating it. Your animal must be without defect, a male in its first year, and you may choose it from either the sheep or the goats. Okay, either Israelite or Gentile, or one of the defiant foreigners, actually. You are to keep it until the 14th day of the month, and then the entire assembly of the community of Yisrael will slaughter it at dusk. They are to take some of the blood and smear it onto the two sides and on the top of the door frame of the entrance of the house, which they eat it. That night they are to eat the meat roasted in the fire. They are to eat it with matzah and maror. Do not eat it raw or boiled, but roasted in the fire, with its head, the lower parts of its legs, its inner organs. Let nothing of it remain until morning. If any of it does remain, burn it up completely. Here's how you are to eat it: with your belt fastened, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. You are to eat it hurriedly. It is Yahavah's Pesach, or Passover. For that night I will pass through the land of Egypt and kill the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both men and animals. I will execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt. I am Yahavah. The blood will serve you as a sign marking the houses where you are. When I see the blood, I will pass over. Okay, the Passover or the Hebrew for Passover is Pesach. I will pass over you. When I strike the land of Egypt, the death blow will not strike you. This will be a day for you to remember and to celebrate as a festival to Yahavah. From generation to generation, you are to celebrate it by a perpetual regulation. For 7 days you are to eat matzah. On the first day, remove the leaven from your houses. For whoever eats chametz, which is leavened bread, or leavening, okay, from the first to the seventh day is to be cut off from Yisrael, okay, which means you die in the desert, okay? Basically, that's what it means. On the first and seventh days, you are to have an assembly set aside for Yahavah. On these days, no work is to be done except for what each must do to prepare his food. You may do only that. You are to observe the festival of matzah. For on this very day I brought your divisions out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you are to observe this day from generation to generation by a perpetual regulation. From the evening of the 14th day of the first month until the evening of the 21st day, you are to eat matzah. During those 7 days, no leaven is to be found in your homes. Whoever eats food with chametz in it is to be cut from the community of Yisrael. It doesn't matter whether he is a foreigner or a citizen of the land. Eat nothing with chametz in it wherever you live. Eat matzah. Okay? Right there, we see foreigner or citizen of the land. Okay? In today's terminology, that's the foreigner is a Gentile and the citizen of the land is a Jew. Okay? We see here that if you eat during Chag HaMotzi, which is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, if you eat anything with leavening in it, you're going to be cut off from Yisrael. Now, why is that important? It's because Yisrael is the one who leads the foreigners to the Promised Land. Okay? We're the ones who lead the foreigners to the Promised Land. Okay, if you're cut off from us, you don't get to come to the Promised Land. Okay, salvation only comes through the Jews. Okay, so if you think you received your salvation from a Gentile in a church, okay, you're not saved. You're not even close to being saved. Okay, you've been sold a bill of goods, and you've been probably talked into tithing and all that stuff too, which is a bunch of lies. You need to be set free from that stuff, and you need to find the path to the narrow gate before you even start walking it. And you haven't found that yet either, okay? I'm just telling you right now. Then Moshe called out for all the leaders of Yisrael. He said, select and take lambs for your families and slaughter the Pesach lamb. Take a bunch of hyssop leaves and dip it in the blood, which is in the basin, and smear it on the two sides and top of your door frame. Then none of you is to go out the door of his house until morning. For Yahavah will pass through to kill the Egyptians. But when he sees the blood on the top and the two sides, Yahavah will pass over the door and will not allow the slaughterer to enter your houses and kill you. You are to observe this as law, you and your descendants forever. He's speaking to both Jew and Gentile in today's terminology, foreigner and Israelite. Okay? This You are to observe this as a law, you and your descendants forever. Okay? Which means, Pesach is not only for us, the Jewish people, it's for you, the common term, Goy or Gentile. Okay? The foreigner, the non-Jew. Okay? It's for you too. If you really want to come to the kingdom. If not, then you could be, shepherded or herded with the goats. I mean, that's your choice. But when you come to the land which Yahweh will give you, we're almost done here. As he has promised, you are to observe this ceremony. When your children ask you, what do you mean by this ceremony? Say it is a sacrifice of Yahweh's Pesach, because Yahweh passed over the houses of the people of Israel in Egypt when he killed the Egyptians, but spared our houses. Now, see, it was the foreigners who obeyed this mitzvah also, you see. The people of Israel bowed their heads and worshipped. And then the people of Israel went and did as Yahweh had ordered, and Moshe and Aaron, that is what they did. At midnight, Yahweh killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, sitting on his throne, to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the livestock. Pharaoh got up in the night, he, all his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was horrendous wailing in Egypt, for there wasn't a single house without somebody dead in it. He summoned Moshe and Aaron by night and said, up and leave my people, both you and the people of Israel, and go serve Yahweh, as you said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you said. Get out of here. But bless me too. The Egyptians pressed to send the people out of the land quickly, because they had said, otherwise, we'll all be dead. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's really odd, okay? Once, the Egyptians were clinging to their flesh, okay? Their fleshly lives. That's what they were doing. They were clinging to their fleshly lives. And that wasn't affected. Okay, sure. Okay, I got sores all over me. Okay, I got frogs, I got lice, I got this and that. Okay, but I'm still alive. But now all of a sudden, when death starts coming, when death starts knocking, all of a sudden they're like, oh, no, because they can't see. They're short-sighted. They can't see the kingdom of heaven. They can't see everlasting life. All they see is what's right in front of them, their own lives, right here in this little box. And how many of you are just like them? Huh? How many of you would die for your faith? How many of you would die for the Creator without any qualms? Somebody had a gun to your head. Boom! Would you tell them to pull that trigger, or would you beg for your life? Huh? Think about it. Because if you're chosen, okay, when that gun's to your head, you say, Father, whatever your will is, I love you. May it be whatever you want it to be, if it pleases you. That's it. That's it. Whatever he wants. If Yah wants you to survive, if he wants you to live, if he doesn't want that gun to go off, he's going to pull that trigger and click. Otherwise, bang. But either way, it's Yah's will, and you know it's Yah's will. You know, if you were one of his chosen, that whatever happens, it's okay. It's okay. You're at peace. You're calm. See? The people took their dough before it had become leavened, and wrapped their kneading bowls in their clothes on their shoulders. The people of Israel had done what Moshe had said. They had asked the Egyptians to give them silver and gold, jewelry, and clothing. And Yahweh made the Egyptians so favorably disposed toward the people that they let them have whatever they requested. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. Now, see, a lot of people might look at this and say, wow, that's cool, I'd love to have all that wealth and everything else. Well, they had to travel pretty much on foot. They had to carry all this stuff with them. All that wealth was actually a burden to them, okay? And in the middle of the desert, it has no value whatsoever. See, that's what Yah did. He let them see a graphic representation. You have all this gold, all this wealth, and it's doing you no good. What I'm giving you is going to allow you to live. That's what Yah did in the desert. See? Yahweh said, we're almost done here. We're on page 6 already, out of 7. Yahweh said to Moshe and Aharon, this is the regulation for the Pesach lamb. No foreigner is to eat it. But if anyone has a slave he bought for money, when you have circumcised him, he may eat it. Okay, this is a Pesach lamb, not Chag HaMotzi. Okay? When you have circumcised him, he may eat it. Neither a traveler or a hired servant may eat it. It is to be eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the meat outside of the house, and you are not to break any of its bones. The whole community of Israel is to keep it. If a foreigner staying with you wants to observe Yahweh's Pesach, all his males must be circumcised. Then he may take part and observe it. He will be like a citizen of the land. Aha! If you want to obey what Yah says, you're going to be one of us. Okay? And you get to go to the promised land along with us. If you don't obey what Yah says, guess what? Bye-bye. You don't get to partake in this stuff. Okay? You don't get to partake in anything that Yah says to do. And, well, you don't get to partake in any of the benefits of being with him, too. You see what I'm saying? No uncircumcised person is to eat it. The same teaching is to apply equally to the citizen and foreigner living among you. Among you. We were scattered to all the corners of the earth. So everywhere we are, there's a foreigner living among us. Therefore, every foreigner, Gentile, has to do this if he wants to be, in the covenant with Yah. See? All the people of Israel did just as Yahweh had ordered. Moshe and Aharon. On that very day, Yahweh brought the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their divisions. Yahweh said to Moshe, set aside for me all the firstborn, whatever is first from the womb, among the people of Israel, both of humans and animals, belongs to me. Moshe said to the people, remember this day on which you left Egypt, the abode of slavery, because Yahweh, by the strength of his hand, Emmanuel, okay, the strength of his hand, that's the Messiah right there, his hand, okay, has brought you out of this place. Do not eat chametz. You are leaving today, in the month of Aviv, when Yahweh brings you into the land of Canaani, Hitti, Emori, Hivi, and Yevusi, which he swore to your ancestors, to give you a land flowing with milk and honey. You are to observe this ceremony in this month. For 7 days you are to eat matzah, and the 7th day is to be a festival for Yahweh. Matzah is to be eaten throughout the 7 days. Neither chametz nor leavening agents are to be seen with you throughout your territory. On that day you are to tell your son, it is because of what Yahweh did for me when I left Egypt. Moreover, it will serve you at... Now, I'll just have it pop up here. Now, this is real important here, okay? If you remember the Shema, okay, you're going to really recognize this. Moreover, it will serve you as a sign on your hand and as a reminder between your eyes, so that Yahweh's Torah may be on your lips, because with a strong hand Yahweh brought you out of the land of Egypt. Why is he talking about Torah if it was supposedly never given? Huh? Wow. It's because Torah has always been around. The first commandment, the first command ever in Scripture, in the Torah, okay, is let there be light. Therefore, you are to observe this regulation at its proper time, year after year. When Yahweh brings you into the land of Canaan, as he swore to you and your ancestors, and gives it to you, you are to set apart for Yahweh everything that is first from the womb. Every firstborn male animal will belong to Yahweh. Every firstborn from a donkey you are to redeem with a lamb. But if you choose not to redeem it, you must break its neck. But from people you are to redeem every firstborn son. What at some future time your son asks you, what is this? Then say to him, with a strong hand Yahweh brought us out of Egypt, out of the abode of slavery. When Pharaoh was unwilling to let us go, Yahweh killed all the firstborn males of the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of humans and the firstborn of animals. This is why I sacrifice to Yahweh any male that is first from the womb of an animal. But all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. This will serve as a sign upon your hand, and as for frontlets between your eyes, that with a strong hand Yahweh brought us out of Egypt. Wow. Everything in Scripture says, obey me and I will bestow my grace upon you. Okay? If you're running around saying you're saved by grace and you're covered by grace and you're disobedient, you defy the law, you say the Torah is done away with, you have no grace, okay? The only grace you have is between your ears, that's it. You think you have something that you don't. You don't have it, okay? The only way to have Yah's grace is to obey his commands, okay? And to study his word. And to fall into total and complete obedience and submit totally to him. If you don't do that, then guess what? You're going to be put off to the left with the goats. You're going to be cast into the lake of fire, okay? You are not going to be in the kingdom dwelling with the Father and the Son. That's it. That's why I say seek first the kingdom. Seek first the kingdom of Yah and all of his righteousness, and all these things will be given unto you, okay? When you seek his kingdom, okay, the roadmap is the Torah. You have to obey it. You do. It's still not right to murder. It's still not the right to covet or anything like that. You can't eat pig and expect to make it to the kingdom. Can't eat shellfish and expect to make it to the kingdom. Okay? I don't care if you're a Gentile or not. Okay? That's just a fact. Take care, folks. I look forward to the next time.